Hey, what's going on, guys? Zakak the Beast here, and welcome back to another Minecraft video. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make the infinite water bucket from Hypixel Skyblock in vanilla Minecraft using just these command blocks you see in front of you here. So first I'll just give a little demonstration of it. You might have noticed when I held it in my hand, you get this comparator here lighting up. And if by chance I were to hold it in my offhand, this one would light up. And that's actually why I have these two separate systems in the first place. One is for the main hand, the other's for the offhand. So if you're making a map where the player's offhand is constantly taken up, where if they have like a carrot on a stick for right-click detection or something like that, then you really only need one of these systems with the 4 command blocks. But for my purposes, just as if it were a regular survival world, I've got both of them so that the water bucket is compatible with either your main or offhand. You'll notice it also has the infinity enchantment on it. I just added that as a neat little touch. You can customize the bucket however you'd like, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. And you should see that when I place this, this is actually a terrible demonstration because in creative mode you keep the bucket anyways, but if I switch to survival here, the same thing should happen. I maintain my infinite water bucket. You can even spam it, do whatever you'd like, and it should never run out. Yeah, let's get into customizing the bucket first over on a website called MC Stacker, which I will link in the description. It's a very powerful tool. Highly recommend you use it. And yeah, let's check it out. Alrighty, so here we are over on MC Stacker for 1.17. We're going to be using the /give box right here because we're just going to be giving ourselves a water bucket, so you can leave that as @p. We're just going to come down to the item here, type in water bucket, and this is where you're going to get your output for your command up in the top right here. So you can see right now it's just a plain water bucket, but we're going to customize it. So for example, if I want the name of my water bucket to be infinite water bucket, and if you're going to make a custom name, make sure you check this italic false, because by default, Minecraft italicizes custom named items. So for example, when you rename something in an anvil, the text gets all slanted, that's in italics. The game defaults to that when it's not its normal name. So if you don't want the text to be slanted, which I personally don't, then make sure you tick that to false. I want the color to be white, and I want to bold it. Now you can also add lore. That's just like an item description that you would see underneath the item. So I think in Hypixel there is some sort of description, or it's labeled as uncommon or rare, whatever the item is. That's all stuff that you would do in the lore. So if you want it to be rare, then you could type that in. You would want the color to be dark blue. You'd want it to be bolded and non-italicized. Personally, I don't want this because I don't have a need for any lore on my item. That makes it the command a bit complicated for my liking. It shouldn't be any different for you. It's just a little bit of an extra copy and paste. So if you want lore, go for it. Count, we can leave blank. By default, it's 1. That's all we need. And then enchantments, I'm gonna go to show all because it's not a regularly enchantable item. And then I'm gonna check infinity. So right up at the top here, we have give @p water bucket with the display name infinite water bucket, color white, bold true, italic false, and enchantment infinity level 1. Just gonna go ahead and copy that. So now if I switch back over to Minecraft and I paste this in, hit enter, and you can see we have an exact copy of my infinite water bucket here, which means that if I hold it in my hand and place it down, there we go, it should work. Now let's get into the actual command portion of this. So I'm gonna throw myself back in creative mode here. So the way that I have this set up to run, I can show you here. I actually just have a little command block box in a shulker in my saved inventory slot. You can see I have a few creations I've made. And I just have it set up in here, so I can just take these out and place them down, just like so. Boom, just like that. And there are a couple manual commands that you need to enter as well, which is why I have this infiniteWater setup book. In here you just click 1 and then you'd click 2 and that does everything you need it to do. It's very simple commands, I'll show you them now. If you want to make your own book you can, but it's really not necessary. The first one is just Scoreboard objectives add. And then this, you can call this whatever you want. So I think I call mine infiniteWater. And then this is going to be Minecraft, if I'm trying to remember this on the fly. Minecraft.used and then Minecraft.waterBucket. Yeah, that's the command, just like that. I'll have this linked in the, or not linked, but I'll have it pasted in the description so you can just copy it over. Scoreboard objectives add, infiniteWater, or whatever the name of your objective is, and then used water bucket. Enter that. My objective already exists because I made it to display it, and then the second command in my little booklet just does gamerule commandBlockOutput false. That way you don't get the chat being spammed by these things while they're active. And then of course I have the item itself. So now let's get into the commands inside of the command blocks. What they do is this first command block here, as you probably could have guessed by the comparator lighting up, it tests for the water bucket being in your hotbar. So the command here is to execute as all players whose NBT selected item is Minecraft water bucket, which display name is infiniteWater, so that just makes sure that it's your bucket that you're using and not a regular one, whose color is white, bold true, italic false, enchantments with infinity. And then I just put run help on the end here just to give it a little end thing because it's an execute command. So execute, if that's true, then run help. A command block running the help command doesn't do anything, so it's essentially useless. I don't think you have to put that at the end there. I just did it to finish the command. Now this is where in the middle, if you were to have made your own custom water bucket, then you'll have to go back over to MC Stacker, take a look at the NBT data for your water bucket and make sure that you paste that in here instead of this. I'll have this copy and pasted in the description. That way if you're making yours the same as mine, you can just paste it in and it'll work fine for you. And if you're doing your own custom bucket, just make sure that you have that set properly. Same thing with the rest of these commands. So the next command block in our lineup here, when you're holding the water bucket, it powers this. So this is constantly giving power into this command block here. So this one is on needs redstone. This one is always active. These two purple ones are repeating. This one's a chain, but this one is always active. The rest of these need redstone. Hey guys, just a really quick editor's note here. The chain command blocks in this unit, in both units for that matter, need to be set so that they are always active. They do not need redstone. Only the one command block I'm currently looking at needs redstone. The rest are always active. So all this one does here is it executes as all entities whose score of infinite water equals 1. So if you've made your own objective here, then you're gonna need to make sure that that's the name of your scoreboard objective. Mine's infinite water, so that's what it's called. 1, and then also these dots after here are absolutely important, because if you don't have these, then you could actually mess your system up, because the scoreboard objective that we're using, all it does is tests for when a player has used a water bucket, which means if you use a regular water bucket, the score is going to increase as well, but it's not going to be reset by the following command blocks if it isn't an infinite water bucket. These dots mean 1 or greater, so make sure that you have these dots after it, because if you don't, it's going to mess the system up, because if you have a score of 3, for example, from using previous buckets, then this command won't run, and you're going to have a problem. So make sure it's 1 or greater. That way the system works. And then all it does is it runs a clear command. So it clears at S is the entity running the command, which is the player with the score. It clears their inventory of a water bucket, whose name is infiniteWater with the color white, bold, true, italic, false, yada yada. So it just clears that, and then 1. That way if there's multiple, it doesn't get rid of all of them, it just gets rid of 1. Immediately after that, following the chain, it then executes as all entities, same thing, whose score is 1 or greater. It runs item replace entity, once again player it's executing at, their weapon main hand. So again, this is why we have 2 different command chains, because this one deals with the main hand, so it replaces their main hand with, you guessed it, water bucket, whose name is infiniteWater. Once again, that's just your MC stacker command that you need to paste in there, whose enchantment is infinity, one of those. And then at the very end of the chain, all that we have here is scoreboard, players set, everybody, infiniteWater 0. So it just sets everybody back to 0. You don't need to be specific about who it's setting back to 0 because it doesn't really matter. And yeah, that does it for that. So over here, we have a couple of small differences. First thing in here, when you're testing for the player holding the water bucket, you need the NBT of their inventory slot -106B. Slot -106B is the offhand slot, so that's where it's going to be testing for the water bucket. Once again, you can see the rest of the command here. It just tests for the water bucket, whose name is infiniteWater with enchantment infinity, and then it runs help. This should be completely the same, I think. It just executes at everybody with infiniteWater 1 to clear them of that 1 water bucket. And then in this command block, it executes at everybody with infiniteWater 1. It replaces weapon.offhand. So that's another one of the key differences. You have slot -106B and you have weapon offhand, and it replaces that with the correct water bucket and then sets the score back to 0 so that it can happen again. So yeah, that just about does it for the command block chains. If you were looking to make a shulker box like this in your saved hotbar, all you would do is take whatever your favorite color of shulker box is, slow it down, and then, or throw it down rather, and then hold Control, which, I mean, for me, I made this my crouch key, but hold Control and then middle mouse click on the command block to pick it, and it should say +NBT in purple text, and that's how you know you've done it properly, because when you place this back down, it's going to have the command inside of it. So you can toss that in the shulker box, pick that up, and then let's see, I have an empty hotbar slot here, so I can save that with C+5, and then here you go, you see I've got my cyan shulker box that I can take as many as I want of. They have my command block with my command in it, and it's as easy as that. So I can get rid of that now. The way you get rid of a saved hotbar slot is just by filling it with an empty slot, same thing, C+5. And yeah, that just about does it for this video. That is how you can make the infinite water bucket from Hypixel Skyblock. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, be sure to drop a like down below and to subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Thanks so much for watching. Peace!